Most men don't understand how subtle a woman can be when she's into you. She won't always come out and say it. In fact, many times, her attraction is hidden in plain sight, disguised in small gestures, quick glances, or unspoken cues. If you ignore them, you'll miss the chance to connect with someone who already desires you. So let's break down the hidden code 11 signs she secretly likes you. When a woman secretly likes you, she often finds subtle, almost unnoticeable ways to place herself near you, whether physically, emotionally, or conversationally. This isn't random. It's not just coincidence that she shows up to that same gathering, suddenly has a reason to walk past your workspace, or ends up sitting next to you when there are plenty of other options. Women are strategic when they like a man but aren't ready to confess it. Rather than risking rejection by being direct, she'll create low-risk environments that give her a chance to be around you. It could be as simple as her joining a group activity only after she hears you're attending. Maybe she texts a mutual friend to ask what time you're arriving, or she volunteers for a project just because she knows you're part of it. If you pay attention, you'll realize she's weaving herself into your routine, trying to become familiar to you without making it obvious that she's doing so intentionally. Sometimes she'll use social dynamics to bridge that gap. For instance, if you're talking to others, she may laugh a bit louder, join the group conversation mid-way, or even ask you a question that seems generic, yet it's only directed at you. Women don't want to appear too forward, especially if they're still gauging whether you like them back. So they test the waters by inserting themselves in your proximity. She might ask for your help on something trivial, help with her phone, a suggestion for a playlist, or what drink to order, even if she already knows the answer. That's not a need. It's a conversation starter masked as a request. She's not just looking for your advice. She's looking for your attention. Even online, she'll do this. She'll react to your stories, leave small comments on your posts, or send you a meme she thinks you'd like. She's not randomly thinking of you. She's intentionally trying to spark something. These tiny breadcrumbs she leaves are invitations. The question is whether you're aware enough to pick them up. If she finds ways to always be nearby, engages you in casual yet consistent dialogue, or finds excuses to cross paths with you, she's not just being friendly. She's navigating the delicate balance between exposure and vulnerability. She wants to be seen without having to expose her feelings too soon. She's hoping you'll pick up the thread and run with it, so she doesn't have to risk saying it out loud. I like you. They say the eyes never lie, and when it comes to romantic interest, a woman's gaze is often more revealing than anything she could ever say. Most men look for verbal clues, waiting for some kind of direct expression of interest, but that's not how subtle attraction works, especially when it's secret. When a woman is into you but hasn't confessed it, her eyes become the loudest part of her body. You'll notice her looking at you during quiet moments, stealing glances when she thinks you're not looking, or holding eye contact for just a fraction longer than is considered normal. That pause, that delay in breaking the gaze. It's not an accident. It's her way of saying she's engaged, intrigued, and focused on you in a way she isn't with others. But there's more to it than just duration. It's the quality of the look. Her pupils might dilate slightly, her eyebrows may lift when she sees you, and her eyes will seem to soften when you talk. These are unconscious responses tied to emotional arousal and interest. She may look at you with a kind of curiosity, as if she's trying to decode your thoughts, as if she's trying to memorize your features. When you speak, her eyes might bounce between your mouth and your eyes. especially if she's attracted to you physically. That's a deeply intimate gesture, even if she's doing it without realizing it. The eyes tend to follow what the heart wants. If she's looking at your lips while you speak, or catching herself watching your hands, it reveals that her thoughts are drifting toward connection, desire, and intimacy. And what happens after you catch her staring? That's the giveaway. She might look away quickly, smile nervously, or pretend she wasn't watching you at all. But her body will react. She may start playing with her hair, adjusting her clothes, or fidgeting with something in her hands. These are nervous responses triggered by being caught in a moment of vulnerability. It's like she's been exposed, but in the most beautiful, unspoken way. And if you look away and then catch her still looking the second time, that's even stronger, because now she's not just caught off guard, she's willing to linger there, risking that moment of exposure again. A woman's eyes will always reveal her comfort, her tension, her admiration, and her intentions long before her words do. You just have to learn to listen to the silence between her glances, and don't ignore the context. If you're in a group setting and she's constantly looking your way, even when someone else is talking, it's a sign her attention is anchored to you. If you walk into a room and she instinctively searches for you with her eyes, that's not just recognition, it's anticipation. She's waiting for your presence to give her mind something to focus on. And perhaps the most intimate moment comes when her eyes meet yours in total silence, and she doesn't flinch, doesn't blink, just holds it like time has slowed down for her. That moment, that frozen gaze, that's not just a look. That's a whisper of desire wrapped in complete stillness. Most men miss it, but the ones who know how to read it understand that eyes speak the language of longing far more fluently than words ever will. When a woman is secretly interested in a man, her touches become strategic, tiny, seemingly innocent acts that carry a mountain of meaning hidden beneath their surface. She won't jump into full physical affection because that would be too revealing, too vulnerable. Instead, she initiates small, almost imperceptible forms of contact that test your awareness, your reaction, and your ability to read her subtle language. It might be a light touch on your arm when she laughs at your joke, a playful nudge when she's pretending to disagree with something you said, or brushing her hand against yours while walking side by side. These aren't random. These are calculated expressions of closeness that feel casual on the outside, but they are deeply intentional on her end. Most men overlook these gestures, assuming they're just friendly or accidental. But here's the truth: women are very protective of their personal space. They don't allow just anyone into their bubble. So, when she breaks that barrier even slightly, you're dealing with something much more meaningful than politeness or friendliness. That playful shove, that's her way of injecting energy and intimacy into the moment. That hand she places on your back when passing by, that's her asserting a gentle sense of familiarity. She's not just trying to be close, she's trying to condition both of you into feeling more physically connected, slowly and subtly. These are the earliest forms of flirtation, where she's building tension without announcing it outright. You'll also notice she finds reasons to initiate those moments. She'll comment on your outfit and reach out to fix your collar or straighten a loose thread. She'll tap your arm when she's emphasizing a point, even though her words don't require physical punctuation. She might high-five you for something trivial and let the touch linger just a little longer than necessary. If you're sitting next to her, she might adjust herself so that your knees brush or your shoulders touch. It's never bold enough to seem aggressive, but it's always consistent enough to plant that seed of attraction. If you mirror it, if you respond without pulling away, she takes it as confirmation that you're open to her energy. And it's not just about frequency, it's about how natural it becomes. When she starts to touch you more easily, more freely, it's a sign that her comfort level is evolving into something deeper. She's beginning to associate you with safety, trust, and desire. These touches aren't loud signals, but they speak in the language of chemistry. They carry emotional electricity. They test the boundary between friend and lover, and they also invite you to reciprocate, to respond, to acknowledge the closeness she's creating. But she'll always be watching how you respond. If you pull away or seem indifferent, she'll retreat, thinking maybe she misread the connection. But if you lean in, if you hold her touch just a little longer or return it with ease, then you've entered a new stage of interaction, where physical presence turns into emotional intimacy. Even the absence of touch can be a cue. Sometimes she won't touch you at all, but she'll hover close enough that you feel her energy. She'll stand just within your personal space, making sure the possibility of contact is always there. She wants you to feel her presence, to notice her nearness. She's creating a subtle pull, and she wants to see if you'll lean into it. Women often understand that attraction isn't always about words. It's about creating moments of shared sensation. Those touches are her invitation to explore a deeper level of connection. And while they may appear casual on the surface, they're actually bold moves wrapped in softness. Moves that only the attentive man will recognize as signs of real, concealed desire. When a woman secretly likes you, one of the most telling signs isn't in how much she talks to you. It's in how deeply she listens. She doesn't just hear your words. She absorbs them, holds onto them, and brings them up later in ways that might catch you off guard. She pays attention to the small things, the seemingly insignificant details most people ignore or forget. If you mention your favorite childhood snack, the name of your pet growing up, a dream you once had, or a story about your high school days, she locks it in. Weeks later, you'll find her referencing it in a way that makes you pause and realize she was truly paying attention, and not just casually. She remembers because she cares, because somewhere inside she's already placing emotional value on what you say. Most people listen with the intent to respond, but a woman who's into you listens with the intent to connect. That means she won't interrupt you mid-story. Instead, she'll ask questions that show curiosity about your thoughts, your history, your feelings. If you say you had a rough day, she might not immediately dive into her own, but instead say something like, "What happened?" or "Tell me more." That kind of attentive presence is rare. It means she wants to know what's behind your words, not just the words themselves. She'll make mental notes of what brings you joy, what stresses you out, what goals you're chasing. Not because she's nosy, but because she's quietly building a mental profile of who you are and how she fits into your world. And it goes deeper than memory. If she knows you like a certain band, she might send you a song by them out of the blue. If she recalls you said you like a particular type of tea, she might surprise you with it one day, playing it off as nothing. If she notices that you speak passionately about something, your work, your passions, your family, she'll circle back to those topics later, creating conversations that make you feel seen and valued. She doesn't need grand gestures. Her way of expressing interest is through thoughtful consistency. The way she makes you feel remembered, considered, and emotionally prioritized without ever needing to announce it. There's also something to be said about how she listens in group settings. If you're speaking in a group and she's the one whose attention never drifts, whose eyes stay locked on you while others are distracted. That's a silent form of respect and attraction. She values what you say, not just for the content, but because it's you who's saying it. You'll catch her nodding along, smiling at your stories, laughing a bit louder at your jokes than anyone else does. And if you share something personal, you might notice a softness in her expression, a shift in her posture. That's her empathy turning on. That's her care trying to find a nonverbal way to tell you, I'm here, I'm listening, you matter to me. And then later she brings it up, perhaps when you least expect it. How did that thing go that you mentioned last week? Or you said you were tired of that routine. Have you found something new yet? These questions aren't random. They're evidence that your words live in her mind longer than the moment allowed. She's storing little pieces of you, like emotional souvenirs, because on some level she wants to be part of your story. Even if she hasn't said it out loud, her interest shows through her ability to recall what everyone else forgot. In that sense, her memory is not just sharp, it's selective. And if you're the subject of that selectivity, it means she's already emotionally invested in you, even if she hasn't said a single word about how she feels. When a woman is secretly interested in you, her body starts to speak a language of its own, one she might not even realize she's fluent in. While her words might remain neutral, guarded, or even playful, her body often reveals a deeper truth. Body language is primal. It bypasses logic, bypasses fear, and exposes what the heart is trying to keep hidden. So when a woman likes you, you'll start to notice that her physical behavior changes specifically in your presence. And it's not about exaggerated movements or obvious gestures. It's about subtle shifts, unconscious cues, and silent invitations that create emotional intimacy before a single confession is ever made. One of the most powerful things to notice is how she positions herself around you. Does she angle her body toward you when you're sitting or standing nearby? Even in a group setting, if her torso and feet are aimed at you, it means you've captured her focus, perhaps without her even knowing it. A woman who isn't interested in someone will subconsciously turn away, keeping her body closed off or oriented elsewhere. But when her body faces you, it's like her instincts are saying, I'm here with you. And when she crosses her legs toward you, leans slightly in when you speak, or mirrors your movements without realizing it, those are signals of deep, involuntary engagement. Mirroring is a major sign. If she sips her drink after you sip yours, shifts her posture when you do, or adjusts her hair just after you scratch your face, her body is syncing with yours. That's not coincidence. That's chemistry working quietly in the background. And speaking of her hair, watch how she handles it. Does she play with her hair when you're around, twirl it gently, tuck it behind her ear, or run her fingers through it? These are classic signs of flirtation, but they also point to nervous excitement. It's a self-soothing behavior, a subtle way of calming herself while trying to appear attractive and composed. It's not about vanity, it's about presence. Your presence, she's aware of it, even if she's pretending not to be, and it's not just hair. She might adjust her clothes, check her posture, or glance at her reflection when she knows you're nearby. That's because you've triggered a part of her that wants to be seen, that wants to present herself in her best light, not for the world, but for you. Her physical proximity is another undeniable signal. Is she always sitting close when there are other seats available? Does she find reasons to walk next to you, even if it's just a few extra steps? Does she inch closer during conversations, shrinking the space between you without saying a word? These small movements are not about convenience. They're about desire for closeness. She's seeking comfort in your energy, trying to share a space that feels warm and safe. And if you move slightly closer, she doesn't pull back in. Instead, she stays put or moves in a bit more herself. That's not hesitation, that's subtle permission. It's her way of saying she's okay with the closeness, and in fact, she wants more of it. Now, pay attention to what happens when you speak. Does she tilt her head slightly to one side, maintaining eye contact while listening? That head tilt may seem insignificant, but it's actually a sign of deep engagement and emotional openness. She's exposing her neck, vulnerable area, which is an unconscious act of trust and receptivity. It means she's comfortable with you, and if she's smiling, not just with her lips, but with her whole face, especially around the eyes, that's genuine. That's the kind of smile that can't be faked or forced. It rises from a place of affection, interest, and curiosity. Then there's the matter of touch, or the anticipation of it. Sometimes she might not touch you directly, but she'll hover close enough that the idea of touch is present. She'll reach for something near you, brushing her hand close to yours. She'll stand shoulder to shoulder in tight spaces, even when she doesn't have to. It's almost like she's asking the question without speaking, can you feel this too? And if, by chance, your hands touch or your legs brush under the table, and she doesn't recoil or act startled. In fact, she might even smile or hold the contact a moment longer. That's confirmation. Her body is signaling what her words may never say. She feels safe, seen, and drawn to you in a way she might not fully understand, but can no longer hide. When a woman secretly likes you, one of her most charming and telling behaviors is her use of teasing. It's playful, it's light-hearted, and on the surface, it might even seem like harmless fun, but beneath it lies a much deeper emotional motive. Teasing is one of the safest ways for a woman to flirt without fully exposing herself. It allows her to connect with you while preserving just enough emotional distance to protect her vulnerability. But what most men miss is what comes asterisk after asterisk the teasing. The way she watches your face, the way she scans your reaction, the way she becomes hyper, aware of how her words landed. That's the real clue, because while the teasing seems casual, the analysis that follows is anything but. She might tease you about your style, your haircut, the way you always order the same drink, or the fact that you're always 5 minutes late. But listen to the tone. It's not sharp or critical. It's filled with warmth, with laughter dancing at the edges. She's not trying to hurt you. She's inviting you into a shared space where the rules are different. It's an emotional playground where she can gauge how you handle pressure, how you respond to light confrontation, and most importantly, how you treat her in return. If you get defensive or shut down, she'll retreat. But if you laugh, engage, or throw a tease right back at her, it builds tension. The good kind. That kind of playful tension is the soil where romantic attraction thrives. And it's not just the words she chooses. It's how she delivers them. She might tilt her head slightly, raise her eyebrows, or give you a mock-serious glare that's impossible to take seriously. These are visual cues that signal, I'm joking, but I want to see if you can keep up. She's not just being funny. She's testing your chemistry. She wants to see if you can create a rhythm together, a dynamic that feels spontaneous, effortless, and charged with emotional spark. The best part, if you respond with wit and confidence, you'll see her smile shift, just slightly. It becomes more genuine, more open, and you'll notice her body language relax. That's her letting her guard down. That's her emotionally saying, okay, you passed. but what happens immediately after she teases you is where the truth lies. Watch closely. She'll often pause, even briefly, and look directly at you. Not just to keep the conversation going, but to study your face. She's trying to read your energy. Did you laugh? Did you blush? Did you feel challenged? Did you rise to the moment or shrink from it? Her mind is absorbing every detail. And if your response sparks more teasing from her, if she doubles down and starts playfully escalating the game, then congratulations. You've just stepped into the emotional push-pull dance that attraction is built on. Because what she's really doing is inviting you to build your own inside jokes, your own language, your own tiny world that nobody else is part of. Sometimes the teasing isn't about you at all. She might joke about herself, her bad habits, her quirks, her silly mistakes, but she only does this with you. That's not just self-deprecating humor, that's a deeper act of trust. She's showing you her flaws in a light, humorous way to see if you'll still like her, to see if you'll reassure her, or better yet, join her in the laughter. This is her way of lowering her defenses, of making herself human to you. And in doing so, she's asking, without ever asking, can you accept me like this? And let's not forget the long game. If she teases you consistently over time, it's not because she sees you as just a friend. That frequency is deliberate. She's building rapport. She's creating familiarity. Every tease is like a thread in a deeper emotional tapestry she's trying to weave with you. She wants to be memorable. She wants to stand out. She wants you to think about her later, not because of what she said, but because of how she made you feel playful, alive, seen, desired. And if you ever notice that her teasing stops suddenly, especially if your connection was growing, it could mean she's unsure about your feelings, or she's afraid she pushed too far. That's how delicate the balance is for her. Every joke she tells, every smirk she offers, is her version of knocking on the door of possibility. She's hoping you'll open it, not with declarations, but with playfulness, presence, and the same emotional boldness she's trying to hide behind her laughter. So, while you're busy looking for big signs, grand gestures, or obvious confessions, don't ignore the small things. The quiet glances, the playful teasing, the subtle touches, the way she remembers your words, and the comfort she shows around you. These aren't accidents. These are signs, whispers of interest hidden in everyday moments. A woman who secretly likes you won't always say it outright, but if you pay close attention, her actions will reveal the truth her words are too shy to speak. Don't miss what's right in front of you.